In the game Genshin Impact, we the player play as a traveler and must go on a journey to explore the realm of Teyvat and the Seven Nations, the end goal being to reunite with our twin sibling. But how did we even get here in the first place? What happened that resulted in the unknown god halting our original journey? Better yet, what world do we come from? The name of the siblings are Aether and Lumine, and they are the main characters in the game of Genshin Impact. Now canonically, Aether is the traveler and Lumine is the Abyss Princess, so whenever I do tend to say traveler, I'm referring to Aether. Now it's been given that Aether is the older sibling and Lumine is the younger sibling. Prior to the unknown god altercation, we can see that Aether and Lumine both had wings that seem to be bright gold in appearance, the solid gold metal piece at the roots, and the four-pointed star in the center of the piece. Aether and Lumine's outfits have a color scheme. Aether wears black primarily with white and gold accents, while Lumine wears white primarily with blue and gold accents. The weapons that they use were longswords with specialized guards. Aether used a cruciform guard and Lumine used a crescent guard, which are both very human-like concepts and designs. Cruciforms are physical creations that resemble the common cross or the Christian cross. Often used in Western church architecture, cruciform guarded swords were used by knights of the church as a reminder of their religion. I couldn't find sufficient information about crescent guarded swords or anything of that sort, but the crescent in and of itself in present day is used often as a religious symbol and used on many national flags, especially among many nations that are predominantly Islam. For example, Turkey, Comoros, and Algerian flags, just to name a few. The crescent also was the emblem of Diana, the Roman goddess of the hunt, wild animals, fertility, and the moon, as well as their Greek equivalent Artemis, only differing from Diana in that instead of fertility, she was the goddess of chastity as well, which is the practice of refraining from having intercourse outside of marriage or even refraining from it altogether. While there are a few voice lines about it, Aether does share a few recollections of his past travels. Specifically in the section about alchemy, he states that in most of the worlds that he and Lumine have been to, alchemy had always been a secretive art.
So here in Mondstadt, alchemy is practiced out on the streets?
Is that so strange?
In many of the worlds I've been to in the past, alchemy has always been a secretive art. Watching alchemy being practiced as a part of daily life is like being in a world where people have 3 stomachs.
Paimon thinks only having one stomach is weird.
Are you serious?
What do you think?
Now this likely means that they've been to a lot of worlds that live similar to ancient or pre-modern Earth-like worlds, as alchemy during these time periods had often been a secretive art in the Western world, most notably in Europe for a long period of time, due to multiple reasons, which was oftentimes because people could use it for mischievous purposes like, for example, mass-producing gold at will. Now the etymology behind the words Aether and Lumine are quite interesting and match their theme very well. Aether across English, Greek mythology, in the languages of China, Japan, and Korea collectively represent the word relating to something or someone that exists beyond the sky, something that exists in the void or beyond the terrestrial plane. To simplify, it's something and in some context a godlike being that exists mainly in space. Now Lumine is an English word of Latin origin, which directly translates to the word light. In Chinese, it is written as yin, which in the context of her name translates to luminous or glimmering. In Japanese, it is written as hotaru, which translates to firefly. In terms of personality, Aether is quite unique. He seems to be a very straightforward and family-oriented person, as seen for his desperation to reunite with his sister. Aether tends to be opinionated and doesn't immediately believe people upon first interaction. For example, some of his beliefs include, and are not limited to, gods don't deserve unearned respect, not getting involved without a good reason, always on guard around people who were deemed as enemies or gave him a negative experience, and sometimes reckless behavior due to a lack of self-concern when fighting. And we see a lot of that reckless behavior. The best example being the Baish cutscene where my boy got blasted. Now as far as we know, the siblings arrived in Teyvat around the time where the Cataclysm was approaching. Aether vividly remembers witnessing the nation's destruction, which was confirmed to have been destroyed by Celestia and the gods. Note that I said gods here and not specifically archons. That is because we know little of the archons' involvement in the Cataclysm, but for now we can assume, based on what we have right now, that they had little to no direct involvement in the nation's destruction. After Khaenri'ah's destruction, the siblings noped out of Tevat and immediately tried to leave, and that's where we meet the unknown god. The siblings attempt to bring down the sustainer of heavenly principles, but of course she wins the fight, sealing both of them. Now canonically, Lumine woke up first and already had her journey throughout Tevat, and even at one point in time explored Tevat with Danslif. While we don't know the details of this journey, whatever happened during it influenced her decision in becoming affiliated with the Abyss Order. This likely has to do with Celestia's actions towards Khaenri'ah at the time of the Cataclysm. Aether, despite waking up after Lumine, still has faint memories of when Khaenri'ah was around, excluding the Cataclysm. Specifically, when discussing the Hilichurl tribe known as the Eclipse tribe, when Paimon explains how the Hilichurls and the Samatrolls of the tribe know how to draw the eclipse symbol, and that even some of the Samatrolls understand the purpose of that symbol, the traveler pauses and repeats an eclipse symbol to himself, as if it's something that he remembers or knows of.
The Hilichurls of the Eclipse tribe are really mysterious. All the Hilichurls of that tribe can draw an eclipse symbol. But rumor has it that only the Dada Samachurl of the Eclipse tribe knows why the eclipse symbol is so revered within their tribe.
An eclipse symbol.
Did you say something?
I was asking you what sort of soup you'd like to have tonight.
And now this is likely due to the fact that the siblings had arrived in Tevat during the time of the Eclipse dynasty in Khaenri'ah, whether that be years, months, or even days before the tragedy. It was the ruling dynasty of the nation up until the Cataclysm happened, and we know that Danslif was a royal guard of this faction with the purpose of defending the people of Khaenri'ah. He was given the official title of the Twilight Sword. Now remember how I said the siblings had color-patterned wings? Well, this is where this theory begins. Now people on Reddit and Hoya Lab have come up with this theory and have mentioned this theory for a while now. This is a pretty well-known theory, but honestly, this theory, in my opinion, kind of makes the most sense, and there's enough dots that can be connected to make this theory make sense to their origins. Now, people on Reddit and Hoya Lab had noticed the similarities between their wings and the Fire Moth logo. Alright, get ready. We're gonna now dip our toes into the Honkai universe for a tad bit, so please stay with me here. So the Fire Moth was a rebel organization founded by humans in the old world. Its objective was to protect humanity and eliminate Honkai threats. The organization had created a large number of projects, but one in particular that's specific to this theory is the project known as Project Ark. This project involved launching a spaceship containing a copy of the Human Genome Library, with the hopes of finding it a habitable planet for humanity to continue living on. The project's creation was used as one of their few last attempts to preserve humanity. Unfortunately, it was deemed a failure after they couldn't get reception from the members on ship. However, loss of reception isn't a 100% confirmation or denial of success. There is still a remaining chance that it was able to find a habitable planet and continue the existence of humanity. Now, people think that the siblings may have been members of the Fire Moth on the spaceship enacting Project Ark. And at first, I was thinking that, well, they're from a different planet in existence as humans from the old world, so this may not be the case. But then I stumbled across another problem, which was how then did the siblings acquire the ability to world hop and exist among different worlds as just humans? And how can we even make this connection between the two games in the very first place? Alright, firstly, something that caught my attention was the word Ark in this project. Ark is actually translated to Tevat when translating the Yiddish word Teva, which is of Hebrew origin. That and the coincidence that this world is called Tevat in the first place, along with the fact that a Honkai dev pretty much confirmed that Honkai and Genshin are part of the same multiverse, likely means we've established the relationship between them in that they are different leaves that are part of the same tree branch. This, of course, is me referencing the metaphorical concept of the imaginary tree in Honkai Impact, which is considered the origin of life itself in the game. Now, something else that makes this theory make more sense is that Aether and Lumine share human features, yet seem to not be human at the same time. Their reckless fighting habits, like literally going headfirst into a sea monster without regard for their own safety, as well as their ability to hop between worlds at will, means that they definitely have been around for a while. Now they may look young, and of course there's the ongoing running joke of the traveler being too young to drink, but realistically it's likely that they are hundreds or even thousands of years old. A possible reason for this then could be that they could have been a part of the Mantis project, which was meant to help humans be able to fight against the Honkai. Now we are about to reach here with this one, so buckle up. Mantis stands for Massively Augmented Neotech Integrated Soldiers, and they are literally what the name entails: humans who are genetically modified with infused Honkai beast genetics. Now, in the old world, there were many Mantis soldiers created by Dr. May, and especially upon the arrival of the 7th Herrscher of Flame, Himiko. After the attack of the 11th Herrscher of Binding, who eliminated about 70% of humanity, it had also wiped out a lot of the Mantis soldiers, with only 13 of them documented to be remaining. Now these remaining soldiers were known as the 13 Flame Chasers, and were deemed as humanity's last hope. Now based on what I've read and observed, there were originally 8 of them that were only known, but over time most of the others have been revealed. The ones that are known as of now are listed in order of ranking. Now, in this list leaves 2 remaining signet slots to be filled: Dawn and Stars. Now, I don't think the siblings are the remaining slots, and thus I also don't think that they're Mantis members. It may just be a different species entirely that simply shares resemblances with humans, but it's possible that they were people of the old world and had been involved with Project Ark. And before Genshin Impact was fully released, we got character card introductions of the siblings. On both of their cards, the person who was speaking in the quotes to the siblings had the initials KK at the end. People speculated at first that it stood for Kevin Castellana. However, it was later revealed through Honkai's 5th anniversary stream that KK might be the initials of a remaining Flame Chaser. This person is completely different from Kevin, since this person's Honkai Beast infusion is Brahma, while Kevin's was Parvati. Now because these initials are the same on both cards and the translated pictures, we can probably conclude that both KKs are the same person. This would then mean that KK may have been the one who was responsible for Project Ark, and that the siblings helped them with this project. Thus, their ability to world hop may stem from them using the ship to explore these different worlds with relative ease. As for their wings, I don't have a way to explain why they had them. Truthfully, this ability may just be something they inherited from their species, or maybe was augmented into them at some point in time to assist with their travels. An extra side note, in the Honkai manga, Kevin states that they lost contact with them. So in case we're wondering whether or not it could have been like a singular or multiple person type thing, it is confirmed that technically on the spaceship there were multiple people. So this would imply that there was more than one person on board on the ship. And so now, what does this mean about the siblings' origins? We've talked all of this stuff about Honkai and everything in its connection with Genshin, but now let's draw it all back. So where exactly could the siblings be from? Well, from the information that we have so far, it's honestly safe to assume that they're from a planet that had humans as a dominant species, with them of course being some sort of exception, I don't know. But based on their card introductions, it seems that this planet was destroyed by something or someone, which could possibly be because of the Honkai, especially since their cards were quotes said to them by KK, and we've already established their relationship with this person. Now they eventually seem to have existed during the period of the Old War of the Honkaiverse, and were there until they left ship to enact Project Ark as one of the last survivors of the Old World's humanity. Now it's safe to assume that they are thousands of years old, since Kevin, when talking about Project Ark, or well, I don't know if it was Kevin who was talking about it, honestly I kind of forgot who mentioned it, but this is mentioned, and I'll put the screenshot up on the screen now during this segment. They mention that it's been a minimum of 1,000 years since the Ark left the Old World. From how or when they received the ability to live for this long of a time period is honestly unknown, so we can't make any good judgments for that. And another detail to hint at is that the Ark is illustrated as 2 shining stars flying across the sky, and as we know, stars in this game are extremely prevalent, as we have primogems, their relation to Khaenri'ah, the We Will Be Reunited symbol, and many other things that I could list. And alongside this, remember that when we first start the game and when the siblings enter Tevat, they enter the world as bright, shining stars soaring across the sky. Whew. Okay. Thank God we're done with that. Anyways, if you enjoyed the series video, be sure to leave a like. And until the next video, I will catch you later. Bye-bye.